Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the Border Trade and Immigration Institute for the opportunity to work on the tactical mapping of border security impacts for the El Paso sector. I'm going to turn off my camera and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to, let's see, do you see my screen?
Yes, Myra.
Okay. There you go. So, okay, there you go. So staff and students that work on this effort are listed here on slide 3. Thank you all for all the hard work that you performed during this pandemic. Okay, so the objective of this project was to build a comprehensive map of the impacts that border security deployments and regulatory changes have had on the social and economic conditions of the communities in the El Paso sector. So the proposed tactical mapping tool collected and graphed a diverse range of historical socioeconomic data against a timeline of significant changes in border security infrastructure, personal deployments, and relevant regulatory changes that have directly affected the communities in the El Paso sector of the US-Mexico border. The mapping tool can be used for intelligence and resource deployment purposes. And we also provide an estimation of the economic impact that border security infrastructure has had in the El Paso sector. And that will be provided by Rafael Perez, our economic impact modeler, who will be describing it shortly. Okay, so we proposed and completed 5 tasks during the creation of this mapping tool. Task 1 was a review of previous mapping of social and economic impact of border security deployments, and that was completed back in February of 2020. Then the second task was the collection and consolidation of historical baseline border security data. It was completed back in March of 2020. The third task was the collection of historical, social, demographic, and economic data mapping, which was completed in August of 2020. Then we also completed the economic impact analysis in October of last year. And lastly, we also provided some project implementation manuals. Okay, so the way we see it is that the tactical mapping tool demonstrates through data visualization the various ways in which border security deployment and other key economic indicators have affected the communities in the El Paso sector. This will allow the user to compare selected indicators against selected baseline indicators, providing insight for potential future strategic decisions. Okay, so the historical baseline for border security deployments and other economic indicators data was presented in 8 main categories. So data was to be collected since 1990 to present time. However, we also collected data as far back as we could. So each slide presents here a topic and subcategories with a measurement indicator, followed by whether the indicator is available for El Paso, for the US, for the Southwest border, the start date, the end date, and the frequency. So the first one, well, is historical baseline border security deployments and events. For this one, we have infrastructure, personnel deployment, and regulatory changes regarding migration and border security. The second category is migration indicators, and this was not part of the approved work plan, but the team deemed it relevant to include migration indicators to be part of task 2 to exhibit and compare the demographic trends for the US and for the border community of El Paso sector. So we have immigration, out-migration, net migration, and number of apprehensions. We also have for the third category is social and demographic indicators, where we show population below the federal poverty level, poverty rates, fertility rates, and another category that we have is public health indicators, in which we have access to health services, maternal, infant, and child health, nutrition, physical activity, and obesity, life expectancy, and substance abuse. We also have, this is our fifth category, education indicators, in which we have educational attainment for population 18 to 24 and 25 and over, graduation rates at school level for population 18 to 24 and 25 and over, enrollment rate at school level for population 18 to 24 and 25 and over, and education spending as a share of county gross domestic product. We have cross-border flows indicators. We have exports, we have imports, we have commercial border traffic through port of entry, through several ports of entry, non-commercial border traffic through ports of entry, and pedestrians and passengers border traffic through ports of entry as well. We also have crime indicators. We have violent crimes, we have property crime. And lastly, we have economic indicators. Okay, so I will now begin to share my screen to show a brief live demo of the mapping tool. Let me do that. Kurt, do you see my screen?
Yes, Mayra,
Yep.
we can see the mapping tool.
Looks great.
And this is Roberto.
Thank you, Roberto. Okay, let me see if I can, yeah. Okay. So this is the very first map, which displays all of the counties that we analyzed for this mapping tool, which are Hidalgo County, New Mexico, Luna County, in New Mexico, Doña Ana County, New Mexico, El Paso County in Texas, and Hudspeth County in Texas as well. Now, if you'd like to take a closer look to El Paso County, we select it here. Okay. Let me see. There you go. There you go. Okay. And the user can zoom in and find the configuration of main highways and streets that go through El Paso and other infrastructure as well. So the user can zoom it in or zoom it out. We let me show another map that I really like, which is here, the total illegal alien apprehensions by country of origin. Okay, so this map allows the user to select the sector and then a year to display the number of illegal apprehensions by country of origin. The size of the circle gives the number of illegal apprehensions for a country. And then we have here, this is the total number of apprehensions for the Yuma sector in 2018. And let's see, for example, at the national level, we have, let's select 2019, for example. Okay, so you can compare the number of illegal apprehensions by country. We have here, for example, Guatemala with 265,000 approximately illegal apprehensions from this country, from Honduras, from Mexico. And again, this is a quick visualization of the number of illegal apprehensions by country of origin. Now, I will not go through every single graph in the mapping tool, but I'd like to quickly go through some of these and show some of the features here. So let's take commercial border traffic through El Paso Port of Entry, which is within cross-border flows. Let me say. Okay, so we see here the different traffic that goes through the El Paso Port of Entry. And to our right, we have here some chart options. So if we click on here, we see that we have the ability to choose a start date, an end date, to choose the minimum value and maximum value for the y-axis. Let's do that. So let's see if I choose 2000 here as as a start date, and then let's see, 2017, for example. Then I click on update chart. Okay. So it gives you, it shows the data as the start date and end date that you wish. You can also edit the labels here for the chart title, for the y-axis as well, and for the x-axis as well. You can also, the user has also the option to change the punctuation here, to add for the percentage sign, the dollar symbol, or the comma. The user has also the option of adding a segment line. So let's suppose that the user would like to highlight that in a year something happened. So the user can add that into the chart and include a label for that. There are some other options as to whether the user would like to show the graph as a line chart, or as a bar chart, or stack the series here. And the user can also change the legend position to the top, to the right, to the bottom, to the left. And the user can also update the color for the series that he is interested in showing. Now, there is an option that we like the most, which is the option of showing the data, the underlying data behind the charts here. And we like it because the user has the option to remove a series, to remove a year or add a year, or even changing the data. So, and one great thing about this is that even when the user makes those changes, those are not permanent unless the administrator makes those changes. So let's for example remove here the year 2000, and I'm gonna have here update chart from table. Let's remove, for example, trains. I don't know, truck containers, empty truck containers. Then we click on update chart from table, and there you go. You have an updated chart here. Okay. So there are a lot of options that the user can have here with that data. They can also download the data in an Excel or file here. The administrator has the option as well to change the data directly in the Excel file and have those changes to be permanent as part of the mapping tool. Okay. The other option that we really like is the dual axis option. I'm gonna drink some water. So let's say that, for example, we would like to compare personnel deployment in the US versus personnel deployment in El Paso sector. So we go into border security, personnel deployment, and then we select here at the national level. Then we go here to border security, and then personnel deployment, and then select El Paso. We click here on submit, and there you go. We have the ability to have two graphs in one, and the user can also edit the left axis independently of the right axis, and same thing for the right axis. He or she can edit the right axis independently of any changes to the left axis. And basically, we show the same, the user can have the same capabilities that we just showed. Well, there's another option, which is the custom data sets. And this is an option that is available only to the administrator to automatically update some of the data and also make changes to the data in here. So if the administrator goes into the admin dashboard, we also provided the option to those links, to those data sets that provide the ability to automatically update the data from the U.S. Census Bureau, for example, or other websites, so that with one click here, those data sets are automatically updated. Of course, there are some data sets that do not have that ability given the source, but we did provide it to the ones that are available. So there are no list of available updates because we have already updated it. We have updated the mapping tool here. I think that it is very important for us to show how this mapping tool, we hope that it not only provides an efficient and effective way of visualizing data collected on relevant indicators and economic matters, but also as a tool to be used for intelligence and resource deployment purposes. So I'm gonna give the word to Rafael, who is our economic impact modeler, and he will be providing an overall assessment of the economic impact results.
So good afternoon, I am Dr. Rafael Perez, and I will be presenting the results of the economic impact analysis that the FAN Institute prepared. And I will give just a brief overview first of the counties that this economic impact analysis encompass when talking about the El Paso sector, which are El Paso, Texas, Hotspot, Doña Ana County, New Mexico, Luna County in New Mexico, and Hidalgo County in New Mexico. So the purpose of this economic impact analysis is to estimate the potential employment, output, and compensation generated by border security spending in El Paso sector in these particular counties. So with these type of studies, what we try to estimate are the economic impact in three different effects. So we have direct effects, indirect effects, and induced effects. So the first set of effects, direct effects, refers to the increase in the final demand or employment in El Paso sector that can be attributed specifically to border security related contracts. Then the indirect effects refers to those changes in dollars in the local economy or in employment that are caused when border security contractors subcontracts other providers or purchases services for related industries in order to conduct their main activities. And so those suppliers purchase more inputs and so on throughout the economy to create an intermediate demand. Then the third effect that we covered in this study is the induced effect, which reflects the changes that results from household spending of employees at border security contractors and their suppliers. This type of effects, the induced effects, refers to the local spending of the jobs supported by the original spending. Like, for instance, if one of the workers whose job was supported by a contract in border security matters go and purchase some groceries in local businesses, fuel, gas, or go to a gas station, all of those type of effects are captured in this section of induced effects, in both in terms of revenues and in terms of jobs generated as induced effects. So these type of studies are, well, the main purpose of, or the technique that supports this economic impact analysis is called input-output analysis. And in particular, there are some softwares that can be useful in order to estimate economic impact analysis. We use InPlan, and we base or support our study using InPlan. because we found these two previous reports that conducted economic impact analysis using implant in similar aspects or similar topics than the one we presented. In particular, we found this Homeland Security Industry report and its impact on the Arlington, Virginia economy, and also second report, Building National Security and Estimating the Economic Impact of Indiana's Defense Industry. So we also included additional leads review. We just wanted to highlight these two as they were the most or the closest reports that we cited in our study. So in fiscal year 2019, there were a total of 409 contracts that El Paso sector signed, and those contracts got a value of 1.22 billion. So with this spending in El Paso sector, well, just to highlight again the areas of that we focused on, we broke down that spending in these counties. So we have that, well, one aspect to highlight is that almost all the spending was taken place in El Paso, as it covered almost like 1.2, the whole 1.2 billion in the county. But also, well, the lowest county that received or signed this contract was Haspet. And well, after El Paso, it goes Doña Ana County, then Luna County, then Hidalgo County. So that was the breakdown by geographically by county, and we also provided a breakdown by industry. So like out of those 409 contracts, like the majority of them went to facility support services. And we also accounted for, well, all the other types of contracts. It figures that, well, janitorial services also comes into play significantly in this type of contracts, as well as these other heavy and civil engineering construction, border infrastructure, or security guards and patrol services. So basically, we selected or showed here the top 5 DHS spending border security sectors. And as previously mentioned, process, physical, distribution, and logistic consulting services figured as one of the most significant spending in terms of contracts. So it accounted for 567 million, followed by security guards and patrol services, other heavy and civil engineering construction, facility supports, and lastly, in the top 5, janitorial services. So with that spending of 1.2 billion in El Paso sector, there were supported a total of 24,000 additional jobs in 2019. Out of those, 17,000 were direct jobs, then 3,000 were indirect jobs, while in those jobs accounted for 4,000 jobs supported by that spending. Then in terms of output, the total output that 1.2 billion generated was 2.15 billion in total, which, well, the direct effect accounts for the original spending, and then the indirect effect was 0.4 billion and induced effect was 0.53 billion. So those new jobs supported by the border infrastructure or border spending, border security spending in El Paso County, also generated labor income, and all that labor income accounted for 0.87 billion, which 0.59 billion was direct, 0.13 billion indirect, and induced labor income was 0.15 billion. So in terms of value added or GDP, internal gross domestic product, the total value added impact because of that spending in El Paso County represented 1.13 billion additional in 2019. So pretty much this concluded our presentation and our results for the economic impact analysis, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for your time.